Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
A strange, winding pursuit of a carjacking suspect believed to be armed. See how this bizarre chase came to an end.
Our first look at the injured suspect involved in a violent arrest by San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies. 10 deputies now on leave.
Plus, is the announcement Democrats have been waiting for finally happening? Rumors are swirling about a big announcement from Hillary Clinton. Good evening, I'm Rudabe Shabazi.
I'm Mark Brown. David and Colleen are off tonight. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. A long, slow, and very strange pursuit of a stolen taxi in and around South Los Angeles this afternoon. It included close encounters with bystanders, a train, and even one of our news vans. Eyewitness News reporter Melissa McBride has more on the bizarre series of events.
The man behind the wheel of this Bell taxi is not a cab driver, but an armed carjacking suspect. Police say he stole the Prius at gunpoint this afternoon in South LA and led officers on a pursuit. The slow-speed chase got the attention of people on the street. They cheered him on, even high-fived the suspect, and took selfies.
It almost at times becomes kind of a circus atmosphere, and I don't think people are really looking at and understanding that we're after this person because he's armed. We're after this person because he just committed a violent felony crime.
When the suspect was westbound on 92nd Street, we were in the eastbound lanes. Photographer Sean Patrick Lewis shot this video as the suspect pulled up, stopped, and gave us a blank stare. Officers started to get out of their cars, but then he took off. At other times during the 2-hour chase, police say some drivers were even trying to follow the officers giving chase.
We assigned a supervisor and 3 additional units to the rear to try and keep people back because at one point it looked like people in civilian vehicles were trying to move up into the pursuit.
During the pursuit, the suspect drove around the crossing gate as a train was coming. Instead of waiting for the train to pass, he did a U-turn. Eventually, SWAT officers were called in. They did a pit maneuver on the Prius to end the chase. The suspect was blocked in and could not escape. Police ordered him to climb out of the car, and he surrendered peacefully.
They were able to put this thing to a stop and take the danger out of the community without anybody getting hurt at all.
The suspect is under arrest. He's facing several charges, including carjacking and evading police. Reporting in Watts, I'm Melissa McBride, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Air 7 HD right now over the scene of breaking news in Malibu. This is a rescue that's going on. Earlier this afternoon, a 14-year-old boy went missing. He has turned up here in a ravine off Anacapa and Trancas Canyon Road in Malibu. You see firefighters there. It looks like they're going to walk the boy out of the ravine. The boy, we are told, has autism. He is nonverbal. He went missing, but it appears he is physically unharmed, and they are going to be walking him out, it appears. He's not on a stretcher that I can see. So if we need an update, we will certainly do that, but it appears the rescue is well underway, and they're going to be bringing that boy to safety very shortly.
10 San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies are on administrative leave, and the sheriff has ordered a use of force investigation following a violent arrest caught on camera. Today, the FBI said it will try to determine if the suspect's civil rights were violated. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan has more on the suspect and the investigation.
This is the booking photo of 30-year-old Francis Pusock after he was released from the hospital.
I am disturbed and troubled by what I see in the video. It does not appear to be in line with our policies and procedures, at least a portion of it.
San Bernardino County Sheriff John McMahon is talking about this video shot by KNBC Los Angeles when the suspect was taken down by deputies. It was the end of a pursuit that lasted about 2.5 hours, in which the suspect was not only in a car, but had even stolen a horse in his efforts to get away. Deputies say they tased him, but the taser was ineffective. They finally caught up with him and got him down on the ground. But even though the suspect appears to have his hands behind his back and legs spread, deputies repeatedly kicked and punched the suspect.
It is very difficult at times to control your emotions and clearly to control the adrenaline. Not that that's an excuse for what occurred yesterday, but it is certainly a challenge that deputy sheriffs and law enforcement officers across the entire country face every single day.
As for Pusock, the sheriff says deputies were familiar with him.
A domestic call where, in fact, he made threats to kill a deputy sheriff and, in fact, shot a puppy in front of part of his family, and we were very familiar with his aggressive nature.
Regardless, 10 San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies, including 2 supervisors, are now on paid leave during the investigation.
I assure you, if there's criminal wrongdoing on the part of any of our deputy sheriffs or any policy violations, we will take action.
2 deputies were injured during the pursuit when they were struck by that horse. As for Pusock, he was released from the hospital with what the sheriff calls bruises and abrasions. He's here behind bars on $115,000 bail, arraignment scheduled for next Monday. In Rancho Cucamonga, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
An 8-year-old boy remains in grave condition tonight after his family's car plunged into the Port of Los Angeles. The boy's parents were able to escape the vehicle as it sank and overturned in the water near berth 73 yesterday afternoon. His 13-year-old brother, Abdel Karim El Mazayan, died. Authorities are calling this a tragic accident. The man accused of kidnapping and raping a woman in Arcadia appeared in an Alhambra courtroom today. His arraignment was postponed until next month. 29-year-old Philippe Lutet was arrested Wednesday night. Authorities say he kidnapped a 25-year-old woman walking by a gas station earlier, took her to a nearby home where he repeatedly assaulted her. She escaped and a neighbor called police. Investigators are now working to identify any more possible alleged victims.
Now to the case that has an Orange County judge under fire. Family members of the victim involved are breaking their silence. Orange County Superior Court Judge N. Mark Kelly dramatically reduced the sentence of 20-year-old Kevin Jonas Rojano Nieto, who was convicted of raping a 3-year-old girl from 25 years to 10 years. The decision sparked outrage in the community. Today, the family of the victim issued a statement thanking people for their support, but asking for privacy. Some county supervisors have called for Judge Kelly's resignation.
People living in a northern Illinois town have been shocked after a powerful and deadly tornado leveled much of their rural hamlet. The twister killed 2 women and injured more than 12 others in the town of Fairdale. Buildings were ripped from their foundations when the twister hit last night. The tornado was classified as an EF4. That means it was capable of producing winds up to 200 miles an hour. The governor of Illinois has declared 2 counties as disaster areas.
Time now for a check on weather with Jonathan Novak. And any changes for the weekend forecast, Jonathan?
You know, it's funny you mentioned because any changes we have are pretty subtle. It's sort of an indecisive forecast in a weird way. But next week we're going to talk about later. I say big changes. We got a big warm-up in store. Today was fantastic. By the way, the rest of the country, they've been under the gun, but things are finally calming down. We're going to look a little closer a little later on. I wanted to show you a couple of these nice sunsets. So Laguna Beach just now dropping into the 50s. Beautiful there. And look at this, guys. Take a second with this one here. Burbank. Nice, right? Okay, yeah. I was impressed. 65 in Burbank. Some light winds there. A beautiful evening ahead. A little cool for Southern California, but temperatures tomorrow are going to be a little warmer than they were today. It's not going to be a terribly warm weekend, but I do have some hot stuff in your forecast coming up in a few minutes. We'll take a look at that.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan.
You're welcome.
Tonight, we're getting a look at a second dashcam video in the fatal shooting of Walter Scott during a confrontation with a South Carolina police officer. It shows a passenger in Scott's car talking to another officer. The footage shows a man being brought out of Scott's car, moving to the back of the car and raising both hands in the air. The officer pats down the witness before the 2 men walk off camera. The passenger, who says he doesn't want his identity revealed, spoke with investigators today. The new video does not show Officer Michael Slager's deadly confrontation with Scott. Slager has been charged with murder.
2 men are facing charges after authorities foiled an attempted suicide attack at an Army base in Kansas. Federal prosecutors say a 20-year-old man was arrested today while trying to arm what he thought was a 1,000-pound bomb near Fort Riley. The mission was reportedly part of a plot to support Islamic militants. Authorities say the man spent months planning the attack and was determined to make it a suicide mission.
It's alleged that he told another individual that detonating a suicide bomb was his #1 aspiration because he couldn't be captured, all the evidence would be destroyed, and he would be guaranteed to hit his target.
Prosecutors say the suspect was recruited to join the Army last year, but his enlistment was terminated when he posted on Facebook that he was prepared to be killed in jihad. A second man is facing a charge for allegedly failing to report the plot.
The White House revealed today that President Obama spoke by phone with Cuban leader Raul Castro this week, just before the president left for Panama to attend the Summit of the Americas. The two are expected to hold an historic face-to-face meeting there tomorrow. This comes just months after the White House announced it would begin to restore diplomatic relations between the countries that were severed in 1961.
The speculation may soon be over. Hillary Clinton is expected to announce this weekend that she's running for president.
Thank you all.
The much-anticipated announcement is expected to come this Sunday in the form of a video posted to social media, according to sources close to her campaign. Then she'll hit the road, visiting the early voting states of New Hampshire and Iowa. In 2008, Clinton suffered a surprising third-place finish in the Iowa caucuses, opening the door for then-Senator Barack Obama. This time around, aides say she isn't taking anything for granted.
Going to Iowa is going to be hugely important to her. Last time in 2007 and 2008, she was criticized for being, too imperious, for not going outside of Des Moines.
Also leading up to the announcement, a new epilogue in her book, Hard Choices, offers some insight into her decision. Becoming a grandmother, she writes, has made me think deeply about the responsibility we all share as stewards of the world we inherit and will one day pass on. As for competition, on the Democratic side, it's Clinton and everyone else. The latest CNN ORC poll has her at 62%, Vice President Joe Biden a distant second at 15%. But she does have her share of obstacles to overcome. Most recently, the uproar over her use of a private email server while Secretary of State.
Join me in welcoming Hillary Clinton.
The Republican National Committee wasted no time releasing a new online ad, part of its Stop Hillary campaign.
This is just par for the course for the Clintons. They're always a little bit secretive.
A sign of the road ahead for Clinton as she embarks on her second presidential run.
Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul is holding a fundraiser tonight in Newport Beach. The Kentucky senator announced he was running for president earlier this week. The fundraiser is being held at the home of Ron Seacrest, the founder of an Anaheim business that manufactures hyperbaric chambers. According to the LA Times, guests will be asked to contribute up to $10,400 to a joint fundraising committee made up of Paul's Senate re-election committee and his PAC.
Up next is released from state custody, enraged a community forced to take him in.
Now the so-called pillowcase rapist is about to lose his freedom again. Plus this story.
If one of your daughters came to you and said, "I'm sleeping with my teacher," what would you say?
Tough questions for a man who was just 14 when he became a father with the woman who was his 6th grade teacher.
And a store raid caught on camera, but the owner says it was a detective who was caught breaking the law.
The so-called pillowcase rapist could be heading back into state custody. A judge has agreed to consider revoking the release of Christopher Hubbard at the request of Los Angeles County prosecutors. The convicted serial rapist has been living at a Lake Los Angeles home since he was released last summer, a move that's drawn protests from neighbors. The DA's office will only say they believe Hubbard continues to pose a danger to the community. A hearing is set for later this month.
Mary Kay Letourneau and Vili Fualau are marking their 10-year wedding anniversary. It's a relationship that began when she was a teacher and he wasn't even a teenager, and it lasted through her time in prison. Tonight they talk with Barbara Walters about the scandal that started it all and their marriage today. ABC's Ted Rollins has a preview.
17 years later, Mary Kay Letourneau and her now husband of 10 years, Vili Fualau, sit down with Barbara Walters, talking about their lives together and their teacher-student sex scandal that dominated headlines for years.
I really don't want to talk to you. There is a story of us that has a life of its own, but it's not our story.
Letourneau was arrested in 1997 when she was 34 for having sex with Fualau, who had gotten her pregnant when he was only 12 years old. She spent nearly 7 years in prison. They now have 2 children and are surprisingly still together.
Vili, you became a father when you were just 14 years old.
I don't feel like I had the right support or, the right help behind me.
From your family?
From anyone. In general. I mean, my friends couldn't help me because they had no idea what it was like to be a parent. I mean, because we were all 14, 15.
Their children, Audrey and Georgia, are now teenagers, older than their dad was when he got their mother pregnant.
If one of your daughters came to you and said, "I'm sleeping with my teacher," what would you say?
What?
What?
I think it would be the same reaction that any parent would have.
The family is still living in the Seattle area. She is no longer a teacher. She's now a paralegal, and he is a DJ. Ted Rollins, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A New York City police detective has been disciplined after surveillance video allegedly shows him robbing a store during a raid. The store manager says police arrested 2 of his employees for selling untaxed cigarettes last Friday, but then he realized his rent money of nearly $3,000 was gone. He checked his surveillance video and saw one of the detectives take the money from under the cash register and put it in his pocket.
When I come and look at my system, at my security system, I see this officer took the money, put it in his own pocket.
What did you think when you saw that?
It's crazy.
The detective has been suspended without pay, and his supervisor is on desk duty.
Everybody's watching. Cameras are on. All right, Jonathan Novak is here now talking about the weekend forecast.
The rest of the country has really, at least the Midwest, all the way down to the Southeast, has had it pretty rough. The good news is we're going to see it here in a moment. It's calmed down, but still potentially with all that rain, it heads down Mississippi River Valley, and you actually have some flooding potential now with the rivers. So we're going to look at that right now. Let's check out that live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. You'll notice that there is still activity in the southeast U.S. Thankfully, none of this is severe. Some light to moderate rain in that portion of the country is moving out overnight. And they can, the eastern portion of the country can really just look forward to what's going to be a drier weekend. Speaking of dry, man, it has just been so nice here as of late the last few days, and it's still that way right now. Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. No rain out there. This is a time lapse from LAX. Check that out. That's beautiful. We've had a few nice images today as the sun is headed down behind some high clouds. And this is a current image. You see they're just now starting to creep below the horizon. 59 at the airport, a little bit of a breeze at the coast, 13 miles an hour. Coming in from the west, it's a nice evening ahead. Might grab a light jacket tonight. 65 in Burbank at the moment. You'll drop down into the 50s in the next couple hours there. 59 in Santa Monica, 65 Temecula. Palm Springs still hanging on to 81, and 60 in Santa Barbara. So here's the weather pattern as it stands now, and what we're going to be looking at in a moment is where it's going to be going. The satellite and radar image here shows an area of low pressure to the southwest of us. That's going to be spinning south of our area, and that has helped to kind of keep the temperatures in check, a little bit at or below even average for today. We go through tomorrow, we'll have a little bit of a warm-up as it passes away from Southern California, south of us here, Saturday 4 p.m. Now, on Sunday, we'll have weak high pressure building in just for a little bit, and then by Tuesday, an area of low pressure to the north will bring the temperatures down just a tad as well. So overall, the next, I'd say, 4 days or so, no huge changes in either direction as far as temperatures go. Morning clouds, afternoon sun is going to be the case as well. That'll be the rule. But by Wednesday, strong high pressure builds in, and we have temperatures by the end of the forecast in the 90s. Back in the 90s in Southern California. For tomorrow, though, we'll go with 74 in Los Angeles, just above average, 76 in Beaumont, 77, lucky 7s there in Riverside. And then Big Bear is going to top out around 56 tomorrow afternoon. Your 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County, powered up by AccuWeather. A little warm up tomorrow, a little warm up on Sunday, right there on Monday. And then finally by Wednesday on is when we really start those temperatures hiking up into the mid-80s, upper 80s by Friday. That's going to be a hot last portion of the forecast for everybody. Valleys, i.e., you're into the 90s by Friday. Until then, you're in the upper 70s, lower 80s. Beautiful weekend ahead for you. Beach looks really nice. Some morning clouds, afternoon sun. 60s for the first half of the forecast, 70s for the latter half. The mountains, you're in the 60s for most of the forecast, nearing 70 by next Friday. Breezy, too. Breezy throughout in the high desert. Temperatures for the weekend look really nice, above average in the lower 80s by Sunday. More weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Okay, Jonathan, thanks. Tonight, celebrating the life of ABC7's legendary weatherman, Dr. George Fishbeck, who died last month at the age of 92. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter reports from Woodland Hills, where a memorial service is being held tonight.
Known for his signature bow tie and big smile, it was Dr. George Fishbeck's humor and love of science that made him an Eyewitness News icon.
So our tonight's low of 54 looks ridiculous.
He talked one-on-one to people. Even when he was talking through the camera, he was talking to that one individual person at home.
Tonight, family and friends are gathering to remember Fishbeck, who passed away last month at 92.
I had such a wonderful life with George. We were married 66 years, and that's a lifetime, you know. So wherever he went, I went, usually.
Before Dr. George became a star on Eyewitness News in the 70s and 80s, he was a school teacher in New Mexico. His family says he was a professor until the very end. Dr. George encouraged everyone to learn about the world.
If you are passionate about something, do what you love, do it wholeheartedly, and take advantage of every opportunity. And you always go, opportunity! And you do it with his finger, and that's my grandpa. He's the best.
Dr. George worked for several charities, raising millions of dollars. His generosity and big heart is what set him apart.
This is the thing. His hand over his heart, right? And he would say, just remember him this way, because he was always coming from his heart, and he is in our heart.
I just tell him that I had such a wonderful life, and I'm missing him.
66 years together, what a legacy. Now, Dr. George and his philanthropy is being honored tonight with a fire service uniform procession to start the memorial service. In Woodland Hills, Leanne Suter, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Local doctor is vowing to walk off the job tomorrow. Details up next.
Plus, new questions about United Airlines, the concerns over pilot safety, and how United is responding.
And the music has begun at Coachella. We're taking you to the festival to see how the big crowds are music to business owners' ears.
Doctors at UC student health centers are planning a 4-day walkout in Southern California starting tomorrow. A similar action began yesterday at the UC campuses in Northern California. The 150 doctors are in contract negotiations for the first time since joining a union. Tomorrow's walkout will affect 5 Southern California campuses, including UCLA, UC Irvine, and UC Riverside. Officials say the student health centers will remain open. They'll be staffed by management.
Federal inspectors are reportedly stepping up oversight of United Airlines because of concern over repeated violations of mandatory pilot qualification and scheduling requirements. The Wall Street Journal reports it saw a letter to the FAA sent to United citing 12 apparent violations in 13 months, indicating a systemic hazard. In January, United issued its own safety warning to its pilots, expressing concern about 4 recent safety events and near misses. United tells ABC News it has already implemented changes to ensure passenger safety and provided the FAA with a full outline of, quote, corrective actions.
Coming up, we're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30.
Including scenes from a bizarre and long-running taxi pursuit. See how it came to a crashing end. Plus this.
He is walking, he's talking, he's eating, he's engaging.
A local family thanks the doctor who helped a father get back to his wife and triplet sons. His amazing journey coming up.
This is Eyewitness News on LA56 with live breaking news.
We have breaking news right now in South Los Angeles. I'm Mark Brown, in for David Ono.
I'm Ruta Shabazi, in for Colleen Sullivan. You're taking a live look right now from Air 7 at the scene in South Los Angeles. You can see a vehicle has careened into the side of a house onto a porch. It didn't make it inside the house, but we understand 3 people are in critical condition because of this accident. 1 has a non-life-threatening injury. We're told 3 patients were inside the vehicle when this crash happened. 1 patient was a pedestrian. We are keeping an eye on this for you. It is at 116th Street. The SUV again drove over the sidewalk through a front yard and struck the house. It didn't enter the house, but you can see that vehicle is on its side there. Authorities are there and paramedics are there, and a crowd has actually gathered as well. We'll stay on top of it and bring you details as we get them.
Also tonight, a long, winding pursuit in and around South Los Angeles this afternoon. It started just before 2 p.m. when a man carjacked this green taxi at gunpoint. For the most part, it was a slow-speed pursuit, but it took a few strange turns along the way. At one point, the driver slowed and appeared to either hand something out the window or just high-five bystanders. At another point, the driver pulled up right next to one of our news vans, stopped for a moment, stared at the occupants, and then took off again. And later, the driver broke through a rail crossing just as a train was approaching. The Blue Line train stopped. It's not clear if it was because of the car, but in any case, the driver made a U-turn and kept going. The pursuit finally ended in Watts almost 2 hours after it started when an officer in an SUV made a pit maneuver. Another SUV and a SWAT vehicle pinned the taxi in. At that point, it was over. The suspect got out and was taken into custody.
Tonight, an 8-year-old boy is fighting for his life after his family's car plunged 30 feet into the water at the port of LA. His 13-year-old brother, who was also in the car, is dead. Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth has the latest on the investigation.
I don't believe it. I think this is a dream. I hope I see them walking, getting into the school bus.
Maria Martinez says she cannot believe her neighbors' lives have been shattered. This after their car plunged into the harbor off the dock at berth 73 in San Pedro last night. A 13-year-old boy identified as Abdelkrim El-Mezahin died. His 8-year-old brother is in grave condition. The children's parents made it out of the vehicle unharmed. Were you heartbroken?
Yes, because I cannot believe it.
It was pretty sad, man. Like, to know something could happen like that to, like, innocent kids. I see them every time I leave my house.
When divers freed the children from the car, they were both still strapped in their car seats. Rescue crews had to cling to the children's grief-stricken parents who desperately tried to get to their boys. This man, Miguel Meza, a paramedic, immediately dove into the murky water last night, getting the children's parents to safety before trying desperately to save the children as well. LA Councilman Joe Buscaino posted this picture of the heartbroken paramedic who is being praised for his heroic life-saving efforts. At the moment, police are calling the tragedy an accident. Neighbors say sadly this could not have happened to a nicer family.
Nice family. Nice family, and the children, they used to keep the children clean, very good dresses.
Did they seem like a nice, loving family?
Yeah, I see the mom all the time. She always says hi as I leave my house. I see the dad come home from work and leaves and all that.
Leo Stallworth, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The mother of a seemingly abandoned girl has been found, and San Bernardino police are interviewing her. The girl is only known as Veronica. Her mother dropped her off at the home of an acquaintance yesterday, saying she was running to the courthouse, but she did not return to pick the child up. Authorities say the woman's name is Lucia. They have not yet said why she failed to return yesterday to get her child or whether she will face any charges. Authorities are trying to find out whether a homeless woman gave birth on Skid Row, but they say she's not cooperating and won't tell them what happened. Investigators say the woman was found with blood on her legs yesterday, was taken to a hospital. Doctors have not determined whether she gave birth or had a miscarriage. Authorities searched earlier on Skid Row for a newborn baby, but they did not find one.
An Orange County man was in a coma. His family told to expect the worst. That's when a local doctor stepped in, forever changing the outcome and starting the man on a journey to recovery. Tonight, that man and doctor are reunited. Eyewitness News reporter Mark Cota-Robles was there for the emotional meeting.
Try to open your mouth for me. Awesome.
At age 25, Mark Kaiser was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, meaning he had excess fluid on his brain. More than 2 decades went by when last April, the Orange County father suffered from a brain infection. He descended into a vegetative state, stuck in a coma for several months. Various doctors told his wife and 3 children to prepare for the worst.
I was being told at another hospital that there was no hope, that we should pull the plug. And I said no.
That's when Mark's wife, Ann, wrote a letter to doctors at UCI Medical Center in Orange. Ann says from that day forward, everything changed thanks to this man.
Hi, how are you?
Dr. Leonid Groisman, who saw a spark and helped bring Mark back to life.
What is interesting to me and what I'm proud about neurology and everything, that there was no tests that showed that Mark would survive.
Dr. Groisman and the entire neurosciences team were reunited with the Kaiser family this morning, laughing and at times crying about the journey. It was in October that Mark began rehab, regaining his speech and strengthening his body. On Monday, he went home.
It's crazy, but it's good.
It feels great.
Mark's 8-year-old son Wesley has been helping out where doctors and nurses used to fill in.
I've been turning him at night and helping get him in the wheelchair.
We are so blessed to have him back home. And we just thank everyone that has taken care of him along the way.
There's still a long road ahead with years of physical therapy, but this family has faith.
I think there is always hope, no matter what.
Thank you very much for helping me and treating me.
In Orange, Mark Cotterobles, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Police in Sun Valley are looking for a driver who deliberately rammed parked vehicles with his car. It caused a lot of damage. Investigators saying he hit at least 5 cars at around 1 this morning. His own vehicle stalled and he fled on foot.
I heard this really loud bang, like if a truck had hit like a bunch of glass. And I was scared. I was like, what happened? And it was all of my family. I looked outside of the window. We saw a car that was just in the middle of the street, broken up, and these other cars that just went crazy.
Some of the luckier residents had only minor damage. The suspect's vehicle was towed away for evidence. If you know anything about who's responsible, you're asked to contact police.
An arrest warrant has been issued for Justin Bieber. A judge in Buenos Aires, Argentina, ordered the immediate detention of Bieber and 2 of his bodyguards. Bieber is accused of sending the bodyguards to attack a photographer outside a Buenos Aires nightclub. Bieber never returned to Argentina to respond to questions about the incident. Under Argentine law, Bieber would face jail time if he returns. Well, Bieber won't be performing, but plenty of big-name musical acts are luring tens of thousands of concert-goers to the desert for the Coachella Music Festival. And with the big crowds comes big money for local businesses. Inland Empire reporter Leticia Juarez takes a closer look.
Snacks, grapes, watermelon, and that's really it.
Elise Alvarez and her cousins are stocking up on Coachella Fest essentials. The money they spend adding to the millions of dollars concert-goers will spend collectively during the next 2 weekends of the music festival.
It's a big week for the Valley because there's all these people coming in, whether it be Stagecoach or like the both weekends of Coachella.
Alvarez lives locally, so she has a place to go at the end of the day. But for the rest, they have to rely on hotels, rentals, or in Ryan Perone's case, pay to sleep on a stranger's couch.
I found some people on a blog that I'm just staying with them, and they drive me over and drop me off.
The festival is a huge economic windfall for the desert community. But even before this year's lineup was announced, local businesses started planning. Real estate agent Jose Espinoza books high-end homes like this one for the festival.
Typically, this house would rent about $15,000 for 1 week for Coachella Fest, where any other day we're talking about $300 or $400 a day. So it's a huge difference.
Stay the right side of the cones, please. And you better have fun.
Even before the first act hit the stage this afternoon, the crowds were in full force. These bracelets, the ticket to get inside the Empire Polo Grounds in Indio, each one costing just under $400.
Now, like one concert's $100, so you're paying $300 for a bunch of people.
Well worth the money, says some, even if the headlining acts aren't the big draw this year.
I don't really look forward to seeing Steely Dan or AC/DC, but I'm looking forward to seeing some of the lesser-known people.
Tickets to Coachella Fest already sold out, with an estimated 95,000 people expected to attend just this weekend alone. Reporting in India, Leticia Juarez, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The next big thing from Apple makes its debut.
The Apple Watch sold out online, but customers flocked to stores to get a preview. We'll talk to them coming up.
Beautiful day today. I have a warm-up in your forecast and then a bigger warm-up in your forecast. Details ahead.
Tech lovers and fans of Apple products have been logging on all day for the debut of the newest gadget, the Apple Watch.
Yeah, the first batch is a sellout online, but customers can still check out its features in stores and place advance orders. Consumer specialist Rick Romero has more from the Fairfax district.
This Apple store at the Grove in LA was packed with customers. Most of the patrons were there to be among the first to get a good look at Apple's newest product, the Apple Watch.
It's really nice, you know. You can wear it by sports, you can wear it casual, everything. So it's really nice.
All models of the Apple Watch, from the entry-level sport model to the $17,000 24-karat gold watch edition, plus all colors of the wristband, are on display at the stores starting today.
I got a white one. I was coming in uneasy, but now I think I'm going to end up purchasing one.
Most consumers who wanted to try on the watch scheduled an appointment, and they liked what they saw. And that includes pop celebrities Drake and Katy Perry with her Mickey Mouse model seen here on their Twitter pages. The watch, which must be used with an iPhone, has several features like Apple Pay, schedule Uber, track health stats, and check in at airports.
I think it's really cool that you can do everything on just like one little thing, tiny little thing on your hand. I think it's really cool.
Is there a feature you're going to want to use more than others?
Probably the maps. I mean, I get lost a lot.
Although you can try on the new Apple Watch at any one of the Apple stores, to order it, you have to do that online. Now, the sales assistant can help you with that, but there is free shipping.
One thing, though, the reviews for the watch have been favorable so far. So much so, in fact, 3 hours after they went on sale, 37 of the 38 models had a 4 to 6 weeks waiting time, and some aren't available until July. With that kind of interest, it's not surprising to see the watches for sale on eBay at a premium, of course. The one common complaint is the battery charge, which is about 1 day. By the way, if you're left-handed, you can set the watch up to wear it on the right hand, and the buttons will be on the left. In the Fairfax district, this is Rick Romero, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yep. You gonna get one?
Maybe in the future. I mean, I'll let them work out the kinks first. All right, well, the weekend is here, and meteorologist Jonathan Novak has your complete forecast up next.
Plus, it's round 2 of the Masters. Tiger Woods is playing a lot better, but will Tiger or anyone else be able to catch 21-year-old Texan Jordan Spieth? And this story.
A family adventure traveling the world for the past
15 years on their solar-powered boat. I'm Eileen Frere in Dana Point, where they've made a brief stop. We'll share their story coming up.
A nice weekend ahead. Let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Novak.
Looks really great this weekend coming up. Today, very seasonable. Look at that. The high was 71, a degree below the normal, and the low is 54, a degree above the normal. So pretty much right where we should be overall. Heading into the weekend, temperatures are going to be going up a little bit, but there's no extremes either way in the forecast, and that's going to mean that going in through the real 4 or 5 days, it's pretty much what you see is what you get here. Today was 64 right now in Long Beach. You were right around the upper 60s, lower 70s at the coast, 13 miles an hour. A little breezy at the moment. We're still at 75 there in Santa Clarita coming in, a little warm there. 81 in Palm Springs. 70 though in Hemet, nice and mild. Tonight we are looking for temperatures to cool off into the 50s in LA. Some of the inland spots into the 40s. Definitely a jacket night there. And as far as the atmosphere goes, the patterns, no huge changes. Nothing extreme in one direction or another for about 4 or 5 days. And then we'll see a big shift. But this is the first of a couple of small weather features, at least how they're impacting our weather. This low to the southwest of us, it's going to track to the south of us. That kept us a little cooler today. For tomorrow, we'll see, and for the Sunday time frame, we'll see a weak area of high pressure build in, and that'll bump temperatures up a couple of degrees. But again, I want to emphasize nothing really extreme in either direction. Morning clouds, afternoon sun, beautiful. This is Sunday. You see that weak ridge of high pressure. Now, Tuesday is the day that we see a little bit of a cool down before the big warm-up, and that's from this trough of low pressure. Off to the west of it, right there, that's the warm-up. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's where the temperatures really skyrocket. In fact, we have 90s back in the forecast by the end of next week, if you can believe it. But for tomorrow, pretty much steady as she goes here in the next 4 or 5 days. 74 in Los Angeles, pretty seasonable. Upper 70s there in the IE, 66 Dana Point, 68 in Oceanside, Los Angeles Metro and Orange County. Here's your 7-day forecast. 74 tomorrow, 76 Sunday, 75 Monday. No huge changes, but look at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There you go, into the mid-80s by Thursday, nearing 90 by Friday. Just beautiful weather throughout. No rain in this 7-day forecast. The Valley's IE, real nice for this weekend. Beautiful. A tad warmer on Sunday, and then we get you a lot warmer by Thursday and Friday at 90 degrees by the end of the work week next week. The breezes will be kicking up for you, too, by that time period as well. The beach looks nice for the weekend. If you're heading out there, a little bit of a morning cloud deck around, but otherwise it looks nice in the afternoon. Saturday and Sunday for the mountains, a little warmer. And then nice from Tuesday, but look at the winds kicking up here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You want to watch out for the breezes kicking up through the passes as well as in the high desert. You have a breezy forecast overall with temperatures climbing into the 80s by Sunday, into the mid-80s by Friday. So the next few days, guys, don't expect any major shifts or changes one direction or the other. Next week, though, by the end of the forecast, the heat is back on.
Okay. Heard it here first. Jonathan, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now for some sports. Jordan Spieth was just 3 years old when Tiger Woods ran away from the field for his first Masters win in 1997. Tiger was 21 then. Now a 21-year-old Spieth is doing the same. After shooting a 64 in the first round, Jordan Spieth continues to dominate the course and the field. Spieth with a bogey-free 6 under 66. He ties the lowest score in the second round. Spieth is 14 under par after 2 rounds and is tied for the lowest 36-hole score in a major, and it is the lowest at Augusta. Set a course record there. Spieth would have run away from the field if not for Charlie Hoffman. He birdied 4 straight holes on the back 9. He's a 9 under par, 5 back of the leader. Dustin Johnson also set a record today. He's the first player ever to card 3 eagles in 1 round. DJ is tied with 2 others for third at 7 under par, and Tiger Woods, a much more consistent round today. He's going to make the cut. Tiger with 4 birdies and a bogey for a 69. It's his first round in the 60s at the Masters since 2011. He's tied for 19th at 2 under par. Hockey now, the Kings won't be able to defend the Stanley Cup they won last season. In order to do that, you have to make the playoffs, and to do that, the Kings had to win this game. They did not. They were eliminated when they lost to the Flames 3-1 in Calgary. The Kings became the first reigning Stanley Cup champion to fail to make the playoffs since the Carolina Hurricanes in 2007. And it's also the first time since 2009 that the Kings have not advanced to the postseason.
We're still the defending champs right now. So, at this moment, we will be tomorrow. Obviously, we're not going to be able to take a crack at that again, but we want to win our last game, and for our fans especially too. We've won 2 championships at Staples Center and had a lot of good years, a lot of good games there, and we want to put one more together, and for the fans.
The Kings will finish the season at Staples Center tomorrow afternoon against the San Jose Sharks.
A Swiss family on an epic journey around the world is making a pit stop here in Southern California. They've been sailing for 15 years. Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere spoke with them about their journey and even got a look inside the boat they call home.
For the past 15 years, Dario Schwerer has lived on this 50-foot boat traveling the world with his wife, Sabine.
We're quite proud about our home.
The boat, called Pachamama, Inca for Mother Earth, powered by solar and wind power, helping run everything from the autopilot to the fridge.
And it's all run by our solar panel and wind generators.
In 2000, the Swiss couple began the top-to-top global climate expedition to reach the highest summits in the world using nature's force and human power, cycling, hiking, climbing, along the way sharing their message with more than 80,000 students. Dario always asks, are they touching iPads more or trees?
When we touch nature more, we become friends with nature, and then we start respecting it.
There have been dangers. In 2004, their boat hit a floating cargo container in the South Pacific. The damage kept them landlocked for a while. Through donated equipment, they continued on, their boat evolving. When they first started out, the only electronics on board, this handheld GPS. After more than 100 countries and 4 children later, by the way, they did make it to land for their births, the Schweers are teaching their kids aged 3 to 10 how to live simply.
We get up when the sun comes up and we go to bed when the sun goes down.
Without a moving stove.
They're learning how to conserve water and food and follow strict rules while sailing.
We have here all the life jackets. As soon as they come out, they have to click in here the life line.
They expect their journey will last a few more years, enough time to conquer Mount Vinson in Antarctica. In Dana Point, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, if you want to attend a talk by them, they'll be talking at the Ocean Institute in Dana Point tomorrow at noon. They're also giving tours of their boat for the public to get a close-up look.
There's more news straight ahead here at 7:30.
And ahead tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, a parking lot brawl caught on camera. What happened inside a Walmart that led to this violent confrontation between a family and police? Plus, a major development in the cold case of a Norwalk woman who was sexually assaulted and stabbed while watering her garden. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Hundreds of students in Long Beach saw their parents in action today. It's all part of the Long Beach Memorial and Miller Children's and Women's Hospital Bring Your Child to Work Day. The children went to work with their moms and dads to learn firsthand about the medical profession, including a close-up look inside an ambulance.
I saw a fire engine and went inside.
They're here to see what their parents do every day for our community. They're touring various departments. The Long Beach Police Department is here, the Long Beach Fire Department, Care Ambulance.
The Long Beach Hospital has been hosting its Bring Your Child to Work Day for 17 years.
Well, we thank you for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is next here on LA56.
Eyewitness News continues at 11 p.m. on ABC7 and anytime on ABC7.com. And remember, you can get your news 24 hours a day by following us on Facebook and Twitter and by downloading our ABC7 app. See you tomorrow night on ABC7 and right here on LA56.
Good night.